We're going to do something a little different tonight. We're going to start it out with a DVD talking about identity theft, and that is our topic for tonight, identity theft, how we can avoid identity theft, how we can protect ourselves from identity theft. We're going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation, and we're going to ask that we hold questions till the end of the presentation, then we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And by all means, if you have anything that has occurred to you, any type of identity theft that you've heard about, been a victim of, please share with us so we can get an understanding of what's going on here in Lancaster. You may have more information than we have about the latest and greatest. So please, we want to hear that kind of stuff. Okay, and we'll go ahead and start the DVD. No commercials.
Joyce? Any word yet? What? I don't understand. What credit cards? You got any credit cards we don't know about?
No.
But we never even got a past due notice in Maryland. No, there has to be some sort of mistake. We don't even live there. Can we get a copy of the credit report or what? It's not our address. Well, who should I talk to? No, I understand, but what, and the bank, what about the loan? No, all right. Okay. Thanks for calling.
Well, what did she say?
They apparently can't approve the loan for the new house. They said we've got 3 delinquent credit card accounts.
Well, that's impossible. We only have the Martins
It's not even our address. They're billed to an address in Maryland.
Maryland?
No, it's crazy.
What about the house?
I gotta get me one of these.
Oh yeah, it's nice, right? I picked it up last week. It's amazing what you can do with good credit. Man, check this out. I paid this guy like $500 to get me system access to the ISP.
Yeah, run that by me again in English.
It's simple. Look, I got like thousands of email accounts that I got access to. Right? I can see people's personal stuff that they get without them knowing it. See this mailbox here? That's this guy named Patterson. Patterson lives over in Wildwood. Look, he just sent out a file. You know what that is? That is a copy of last year's tax return that Senor Patterson was sending to his real estate agent. Dude, we just take the names and the social security numbers, open up a couple credit cards in his name, boom!
Will they catch on?
No, man, hell no. Even if they do, it'll be long after you got a pinball machine in your fridge.
Sweet. What can I do?
You can help out with the shopping sprees. Keep what we want, pawn the rest. I love computers.
need to stop hitting the mailboxes before somebody gets smart.
It's no sweat. You know my new girl, Mandy? She works in payroll at this big place over in Adamsburg. She's going to start hooking us up with employment applications, all kinds of stuff from over there.
Ain't she gonna know we're up to something?
I told her I needed the info for this telemarketing thing I'm doing. Said it would increase my commissions if I got new names for the list. Maybe, if they don't want to buy, they can just hang up.
Sweet.
I told her we only wanted applications from the people they didn't hire. Right? That way, no way it comes back on us.
You think she's cool, huh?
Hell yeah, man. She's got a kid and stuff. She don't care where the free dinners are coming from as long as they keep coming.
Man, that's brutal.
Speak of the devil, there's my baby.
Come dance with me.
Hi, can I help you?
Yeah, hi, I'm Postal Inspector Alan Goddard. Looking for Mandy Richards.
This is Mandy.
Hi, Mandy Richards.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Postal Inspector Alan Goddard. This is my partner, Inspector Nice. Is there someplace we can talk in private?
I guess we can go into the break room.
Yeah, that'd be fine. You recognize this man?
Yeah, that's my boyfriend, Nick. Is he in some kind of trouble?
You're both in trouble, Mandy. You want to tell us about the employment applications you've been giving him?
He's been using those to do some telemarketing.
Look at us all.
What if I told you he's been using them illegally? And he's running a mail fraud scam? What if I told you that makes you an accessory to a federal crime?
Look, I don't know anything about that.
Your boyfriend slipped up, Mandy. He bought a car a few weeks ago on someone else's credit. And then he turned around and sold it for some quick cash. But he forgot to clean it up first. And guess what we found under the seat? It didn't take long to figure out where he got it.
I swear, I didn't know. He said no one was going to get in trouble.
Mandy, we believe you. But I'm not sure a jury will. Why don't you help yourself?
Look, I didn't know. I swear I cannot go to jail. My little girl.
Be smart, Mandy. We can't promise anything, but we'll tell the U.S. attorney you cooperated. If you help us with Nick.
What do I have to do?
Mandy, baby, what's up?
Don't come up here with all that baby stuff. You've been playing me.
What's talking about, girl? What's right with you?
You keep telling me you're using these for telemarketing, Lance. Then you get a new car every couple of months. You move from one nice place to the other. You don't make that kind of cash talking on the phone.
Baby, I told you it's all commission. Yeah, plus we got that computer thing going. There's those websites. Come here.
What kind of fool do you think I am? I'm not going to risk my job so you can go spend the money on some other tramp.
Baby, it's not like that.
Look, I got a kid to think about. And until you cut me in for some of the money, you can forget about these applications.
Mandy, you know I ain't got no other woman. And I don't know what the hell you're talking about. There's no scam.
Hey, man, we ain't got all day.
Meet Daryl in church.
All right, look, we got a little thing going, okay? It's no big deal. We're just opening some credit card accounts in these folks' names. Pop up for a few grand at a time. Listen, baby, the credit card companies cover the money. Nobody's getting hurt.
You're crazy. I could go to jail for helping you with this stuff. Who's going to take care of my little girl then?
No, listen, baby, I'm telling you, it's nothing. It's like we max out these credit cards, right? And we keep paying the minimum on the bill. Nobody ever suspects a thing. Now, listen, I've been taking care of you, right? What do you think's been paying for all these nice clothes and stuff, huh?
I'm risking my neck. You're going to cut me in for some of the green, too.
No. All right, look, I'll have to ask Daryl about it. He's not going to like bringing in anybody new.
I suspect in the car Daryl Henderson has priors for weapons charges.
Do this one, Father.
I said we'll see, all right? Now, I need those names, or...
You got one of those credit cards on you?
give me one. Let me go buy my baby some clothes. That's the least you can do. And we'll talk about everything else later.
All right, whatever. Here. Now don't go crazy with that. And don't shop anywhere people know you. And don't say a word to Daryl about this. We cool?
Yeah, we're cool.
Daryl and Nick are serving time in a federal prison right now, and Mandy lost her job. Unfortunately for the Pattersons, it took several months and hundreds of dollars in legal fees to clean up their credit reports and clear their good name. In the meantime, their dream home was sold to another buyer, and they're still struggling to repair all the damage done by these crooks. The really sad thing is that it might have been prevented by following 4 simple steps. First of all, deposit all outgoing mail in a blue postal collection box rather than using a residential mailbox. In some parts of the country, theft from residential mailboxes is a real problem. Second, shred or burn all unwanted pre-approved credit applications and financial statements, old credit cards, and other documents. Thieves often will go through trash containers or even dumpsters to find these items and use them to steal your identity. Third, once a year, order a copy of your own credit report, especially before making large purchases like a new home or car. Check it carefully for any activity that you did not authorize. Also, check for accounts that you might have forgotten to close. Sometimes, thieves take over these old accounts and use them to order new credit cards and checks. Fourth, limit the amount of personal information that you give out over the telephone and internet. Try to ensure that you only provide such information to reputable companies, and be sure to read their policies on confidentiality to be sure they aren't sharing your information with anyone else. If you think you've been the victim of identity theft, then you need to report it. Contact your local United States Postal Inspector. You can find the number on our website at usps.com/postal inspectors. Identity theft is the fastest growing crime in America, but it doesn't have to happen to you.
Jim's going to be changing over here to the presentation. In the presentation tonight, it's going to go over a lot of information and data, and then it'll get to how frequently asked questions about identity theft and some answers for identity theft. While he's doing that, I'll hit you with this. This came out last week, over the weekend in the paper. Even they'll take, and you can see what one dummy can do to hurt so many people like that. They're even taking the identity of people that have passed away. If you have a loved one or family member, if one of your neighbors passes away, tell their family. They should send a death certificate, a copy of that, to Social Security, and then also to the 3 reporting agencies and everything for credit, and do that right away. This particular one was in Philadelphia, and it was a 23-year-old, and someone right away started using his name and credit and everything. So if you do have a death in the family or neighbors, and please pass this information on to your neighbors. When we go out and we do neighborhood watch, we try to, teach the people to come that night, and they teach their neighbors, and the same thing here. What we're telling you tonight, please spread the word to friends, family, co-workers, neighbors, as far as what's going on. You ready there, Jim?
Yep, I sure am. Okay, there's a handout that was at the back of the room when you came in, you picked up. It looked just like this up here, Identity Theft Consumer Complaint Data. And I'm going to go over a couple of things on this page, or these couple of pages. Identity theft, as he had mentioned earlier, is one of the fastest growing crimes out there. And the data that we have is always changing. So this is some of the latest data, which is different from the PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to give you. So I just wanted to give you some updates on this. And if you go through to the first page, if I can work this full. This is basically a copy of it. Okay, if you look at credit card fraud on the far left, that is the #1 type of identity theft that we experience. A lot of people think that it's all done over the internet. That's where the problem is. Most of it is credit card applications, as he had talked about in the video. People are getting your information. It might be a credit card application that is sent to you in the mail, one that you dispose of in the trash, and they get a hold of it, or they steal it from your mailbox, and they go ahead and they open an account in your name. And you don't know about it until they come looking for payment of the bill. So you've got phone and utilities, which are the next topic, 18%. It moves on to retirement-related fraud, bank fraud, government documents, loan fraud, and other identity theft, which is 25%, and the red is California, the gray is all other locations. Within that other identity theft is the utilization of computers, and it's kind of everything joined into that. So it's going on quite a bit, as you can see there. Okay, if you look at credit card fraud at the top left, new accounts being opened, 14.2%. And again, that's the biggest thing, is credit cards being opened in people's names. So again, shred the credit card information that comes to your home. If you move down, phone and utilities, it's about 8.3% for new accounts for telephones. Employment-related fraud, and as they had indicated on the DVD, where that girl was giving the guy names, Social Security numbers, and information on prospective employees from a business. And again, it's very difficult to protect yourself against that if somebody on the inside is handing out information that you're providing to a prospective employer. But again, that's about 18% there. And then the other areas, bank fraud, government documentation, loan fraud, are all in the smaller digits. It's funny, you know, we talk about people being taken advantage of by fraud or some kind of scam, and a lot of times it's the older population, people that are retired, people that are somewhat set in their ways. They own their own home, they may have a nest egg put away, and they're targeted by a lot of these criminals. But when it comes to identity theft, it's really the people between the ages of 18 and 29 that are hit most often. 28% of the people in California that have been experienced with identity theft are between that age group. And as you can see, it moves down. Between 30 and 39, it's only 23%. 40 to 49, 19%. 50 to 59, 13%. 60 to 64, 4%. Over 65, 6%. So it goes up a little bit at the very tail end, but it's the young people that are out there opening up credit cards. It's the young people that may be taking risks that the older folks aren't doing. Maybe we have a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more savvy, or being a little more careful with our information. But again, if you've got children, if you've got grandchildren, if you're young yourself, be careful with the information that you're providing to people. California is ranked #2 behind Arizona in identity theft. And this is measured by complaints that have come into the Justice Commission. And 120.1 complaints per 100,000 population. They had 43,892 complaints in California. It's a huge number. Again, I don't like to see California ranking #2 in the most identity theft in the country, but that's where we stand. So Arizona is the only one that is above us, but less complaints because the population is lower in California. And the last page, it just has it shows in the red is more than 80%. As I said, it was 121% California, but it seems like the southwestern states have a lot of identity theft going on. And you can see throughout the country, less than 60%, 60 to 80, and more than 80%. So, again, we're in an area, very target-rich environment, and they're out there looking to scam people, so be very careful. Okay, we're going to move on to the PowerPoint. It'll just take me a minute to change over to the DVD.
We did a presentation here last month on scams and schemes, and a lot of that was, some of that was identity theft also. One of the things was a lot of people now are out of work. A lot of people are looking for work online, so if you know of any of your family members that are giving out information online, be careful on who you're giving that information to. Make sure it's a secure site. Better Business Bureau was putting out some flyers saying that, watch out for some of these people who are just trying to get information back in, pretending to be a business. There'll be misspelled words in the text. They're offering great pay for little skill. They want maybe some money down. All these clues that, it's too good to be true. Be careful who, you're looking for a job, you see something, you type it in there, and you're giving out all your personal information to somebody that isn't trying to hire you, they're just trying to get your personal information. So if you can actually go into a location, if you know it's a secure site, that's something different, but if you see something that pops up, be very careful and tell your family members if they're applying for jobs online not to give out all that information first time out, especially social security numbers and items like that. So,
okay. All right, this should go a little bit better than the other. This is a real PowerPoint presentation. We're going to go through it. And again, you don't have copies of this PowerPoint, and I purposely didn't hand them out. I'm going to go through it relatively quickly. The handouts that you do have cover all the same information. It's just in a different format. So we're just going to cover all the topics. But identity theft and strategies for crime prevention. The objectives of this is to identify or define identity theft, discuss why you should worry about it, examine how identity theft occurs, look at how identity theft has emerged, discuss what is being done about identity theft, and look at ways to protect yourself. What is identity theft? One person using information gathered from some source takes on the identity of another person without their permission and conducts a variety of activities using that identity. The intent is to use that identity for personal gain, generally with the intent to defraud others. Now, it says what is not identity theft. A lot of the time we will go out to criminal reports that we have to take where people say, my identity's been stolen. Well, a lot of times it hasn't been in circumstances such as this. Someone using your credit card with your knowledge or consent to make a purchase. That's not identity theft. You've given them permission. Someone properly exercising a legally granted power of attorney on your behalf. We have some people, older generation, where their kids or a relative petitions for conservatorship, and they get the power of attorney, and they start doing things with their money, and then we get a phone call, he's stealing my money, and it turns out that they have a legal power of attorney. So someone making up a fake name, signing into a hotel, that's something that's illegal, but it's not identity theft. Okay. All right, why worry about identity theft? 1 in 33 households discovered at least one type of identity theft during the previous 12 months. Now, this information is back from 2004, 2005, and it's escalated since then. Households with the highest incomes and those headed by persons ages 18 to 24 were most likely the victims. So they target people that are young. They target people that have money. Okay? 1 of 5 victimized households spent about 1 month resolving problems resulting in identity theft. If you can resolve it in 1 month, count your blessings. That was a good time frame. As they indicated on the DVD, it took them several months, some people up to a year, to clear their name and recover their credit. Okay? Identity theft is a greater concern to adults with older children at home than those with younger children. Again, if the children are out applying for credit, buying their first vehicle, of course it's going to be more of a concern. Why worry about it? U.S. adult victims of identity fraud in 2005, 9.3 million. In 2005, total one-year fraud amounted $54.4 billion. We're in tough economic times now, and you look at those numbers, you see a lot of those $1 billion flying around with the new proposal that Obama is going to put through. Again, that's a lot of money. If we could recover that money or stop that from happening, it would help our economy. Okay. Women are more concerned than men on most of these issues, which is an interesting statistic. More than 4 in 10 women, 42%, are very concerned about identity theft. 4 key points that you need to know. People are not helpless in protecting themselves from identity theft. Consumers do not bear the brunt of the loss. That's yes and no. Generally, a consumer, if you have identity fraud committed against you and a credit card is taken out in your name, most of the credit card companies, if you can prove that it was identity theft, they will forgive that money that's owed to you, and then you still have to try to repair your good name. But a lot of times you don't have to come up with out-of-pocket costs. But again, the folks on that DVD, they lost the home they were about to buy. So, you know, seems to me they bore the brunt of that, didn't they? Okay. Internet use does not increase risk of identity fraud. Statistically speaking, identity fraud is not internet related solely, but the internet has become very popular. It is something that you definitely have to look into. It is an easy way for them to access it. So I don't necessarily agree with that point, but the numbers say identity theft is not, does not increase the risk. If you don't use your computer properly, you can increase your risk. Okay. Seniors are not the most frequent victim or targets of identity thieves. Why worry about it? Victims of identity theft and those who know victims are far more likely to be concerned about the issue than those who have not been victims. And that's part of what we're doing here today. We want to educate people. Don't wait until it happens to you before you do something to protect yourselves. We need people to be proactive, not reactive. Those who feel more vulnerable on the internet are concerned about identity theft at the double rate of others. If you're not comfortable with using the internet and the type of precautions that you need to follow while on the internet, you're going to be more vulnerable. And people that are not comfortable being on the internet, they're going to probably feel vulnerable. So learn about the internet, learn what you're doing, learn at the safe sites and what you can do, what you can't do. Okay. Deterrence and apprehension are not yet effective. Prevention is the best defense. A lot of these people are getting away with it. As the guy said, by the time they catch me, you know, we're going to be on to somebody else. We're going to have, you know, you're going to have your pinball machine in your own crib, I think he said. And that's what it takes, sometimes months before you even find out somebody's tried to steal your identity. So it's very tough to track these folks down. There's jurisdictional problems concerning where the crime occurs. Generally, when a crime occurs, it's where it takes place. If somebody in Florida steals your identity and you live here in California, well, where did the crime take place? Well, it really took place in Florida, but you're the victim here in California. So you go to the sheriff's department and you report identity theft. It's difficult for them to pursue that person because they're in Florida. There's jurisdictional problems there, okay? It is an attractive crime for criminals because it's a relatively low risk and a high return. Okay, a few statistics regarding Americans and how they view identity theft. More than 9 in 10 Americans believe identity theft is a major or moderate problem. This one I thought was very interesting. Adults with a college degree or higher are less likely than others to think of identity theft as a major problem. Basically, they're saying, I'm smart, I'm well educated, nobody's going to take advantage of me. Well, I don't care how smart you are, I don't care how brilliant you think you are, you can be a victim of identity theft. Okay. Those who feel more vulnerable on the internet, as I had stated earlier, think or state that identity theft is a major problem. More than 1 in 7 adult Americans, 14%, reported being a victim of identity theft. And nearly a quarter of adult Americans, 24%, say someone close to them has been a victim. So people have either been a victim or they know somebody who has. 1 in 4 of those who know a victim of identity theft have been a victim themselves. So again, they're targeting a lot of people in a lot of the same demographic. If you're in a good neighborhood and you have a friend that lives in the same neighborhood, maybe the mail was stolen from that neighborhood. Maybe they have somebody working that area that's stealing mail, getting into things, tapping into internet connections in that area. So again, a lot of times you will talk to people. You need to open up, you need to share your experiences, because when you talk to somebody, they're going to come back and say, that happened to my son, or that happened to me, or that happened to a friend of mine. And by learning more about it, the more protected we are. Okay? More than half of adult Americans say they know a good deal or a great deal about how to prevent identity theft, and only 6% say they don't know anything about it. Well, it's tough to prevent identity theft. If the criminal really wants to get your identity, they have ways of doing it. Your name is out there. Your social security number is out there. Your information can be obtained. What you need to do is try and put measures in place to prevent it from happening, but nobody is going to be completely safe. It can happen. Okay, how does identity theft work? Okay, getting the identity. And some of these things were mentioned. Discarded documents in the trash, receipts from purchases, lost or stolen wallets or purses, online phishing for personal data, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, stolen mail from mailboxes. Thieves are thinking of new and inventive ways every day. Some thieves go wholesale, and that's what this guy had done. He had actually bought a list, and then he went to his girlfriend and got a list of personal information through computer hacking, theft, or bribery, and use that information. The information may be resold to other crooks or used numerous times by the original thief or thieves. Profits may be used to support additional criminal activities such as drug use and terrorism. With the information that becomes available, the thief may have also a false ID card made, such as a state driver's license with the thief's picture on it and the victim's name, a state identification card, social security card, employer identification card, and of course credit cards. The thief may simply begin leveraging one piece of information to obtain or establish other information or assets. New credit card accounts, state or local licenses, accounts with utility companies, apartment leases, or even home mortgages. It's amazing how they can work through the system, because we've got people out there that are not on the up and up, and they may be working in the real estate business, they may be working in the banking community, and people come in, they have false names, they've got ID, they've got all the paperwork they need, but with a little research, they wouldn't be granted a loan. But if they know somebody on the inside, they can push things through, they could end up buying a house in somebody else's name. So it can happen, and it does happen. Okay, discovering the theft. The thief continues to build a persona using the victim's name, good credit, even good character references. He may have his friend write up references saying, this is, the Joe Smith, he's a great guy, and he submits those. The thief never pays the bills, but the victim is left with the bad name and the ruined credit. Eventually, the victim tries to get new credit. Account is turned down. He gets a bill from a credit card that he or she never owned, or starts getting calls from bills collectors. And they may have been perpetrated months in advance, and now they start getting phone calls. The credit card companies may not call you until you're behind by a month or more, and by this time the thief is long gone. Okay, discovering the thief. The thief might abandon the victim's identity because he or she has spoiled the name of the victim with a criminal offense or a bankruptcy. We've arrested many people that have had ID on them. It turns out that the ID that they have is not them. So you may have somebody utilizing your ID, they get arrested, your name is put into the system, now you've got a rap on your name, you get pulled over for a ticket, and they pull it up, and guess what? You show up with a DUI conviction, and then you've got to go and straighten it out. Okay, this stuff happens. Okay, when the crime or ruined credit is discovered, the victim is left to clean up the mess, and it is a mess to clean up. So you want to try and avoid this from happening. Reporting and restoring. Victim reports the theft to the local police, or in this case, you'd report it to the Sheriff's Department here in Lancaster. And of course, you want to make a report to the nation's 3 major credit bureaus. It is in your paperwork. There's another handout there. You've got TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Thank you. The victim asks the credit bureaus to note the identity theft crime on his or her credit report. That way this crime is noted on your report, so if you go to get credit, the prospective person providing you credit is going to see that it was a fraudulent charge. The victim may need to consult with a local victims assistance agency or even an attorney to obtain information on necessary specific steps in your given state. Different states require different things to get things taken off of your credit reporting. And I can't give you legal information. So again, if you get in this case and you can't clean up your credit, by all means hire an attorney that can give you good counsel. Okay. The victim can also file an online report and an affidavit with the Federal Trade Commission registry at www.ftc.gov. Go to the identity theft section. Again, there's a lot of information there on their website. That's where this PowerPoint was taken from. Again, there's good stuff out there. There's a lot of resources for you. And by all means, you can call us if you have any questions or need any information. We'd be happy to help you. Frequently asked questions. Where and how do they get my information? Telephone calls asking you to update your records. Credit card companies don't call you on the phone and say, we need to update your records. Can you give me your Social Security number? And can you give me your yearly income? And can you give me your mother's maiden name? And they don't do that. If you get a phone call such as that, hang up the phone. Or you say, give me your number. Let me call you back. They'll probably hang up on you. Okay? But again, be smart. Don't give out the information over the phone. Theft of incoming bills we had talked about would show your account number. If you've got a mailbox, an old rural mailbox sitting out at the curb with the little red flag on it, they're not real good. They're not very safe. Even the locked mailboxes, the community mailboxes, are getting broken into and mail is being stolen, but they are more secure than your standard mailbox. If you can get together with your neighbors, if you have standard mailboxes, you can petition with the post office to get a community locked mailbox. And they will do that if you get all the neighbors in the neighborhood together to say, we want a locked common mailbox. They will come out and install one for you, but you're going to have to get everybody's signature in order to do that. But something to think about. Theft of outgoing mail and bill payments. Don't put your mail in your mailbox. Even if you have a secured mailbox, go to the post office, put it in one of their postal, preferably internal mail slots. Even the big blue postal boxes that you drive up to and you drop your mail in, those are being broken into. Okay.
A little bit harder to get into, but they can get into them.
Absolutely. Redirection of stolen mail, where the thief files a change of address on your credit card bills. Now there they get your information, they open up a credit card account, they put in a change of address, they put in a false phone number, so when they don't pay the bill and the credit card company goes looking for you, all this stuff is being sent to a different address. You still don't know. The phone calls are going to a dead phone. You still don't know. It can go on for months by the time you finally figure it out. You may not, if you don't check your credit report, you may not know about it at all until you go to get a loan. Just like this gentleman did trying to buy the house, and all of a sudden he's got 3 credit cards open in his name he knew nothing about. So check your credit report. Phishing, in which the sender sends out an email or pop-up message that looks like it came from a real bank or credit card company and asks for, again, for identifying information. Legitimate companies will never do this. Phishing and the internet, well, it says here the internet is new. The internet isn't so new, but a lot of people are not internet savvy. To them, it is still a new phenomenon. Well, it's very old to some of these criminals, and they have learned how to work it very well. It's convenient, it's a trusted way to do business, but it also has allowed criminals to create illegitimate emails or pop-up messages posting as banks, credit cards, utility companies. Thieves with phishing might create a phony reason as to why they need to give them your personal information, your bank routing number, social security number, etc. They use the ease of online transactions to their advantage, hoping you will be fooled. Okay, more ways thieves steal personal information. I think we've covered most of these. Again, going through the trash to recover bills, credit card receipts that you discard or toss out. A lot of times you'll take your credit card or your receipt when you go to the store, you leave it in the bag when you throw the bag away. They go through the trash, they find it in the bag. Noticing a bill you toss in a public trash can. Second impressions of credit cards. You don't want to let your credit card, your ATM card, any of that out of your sight. Many restaurants that you go to, you may hand the waiter the credit card and they walk away and they go to the little island where they run your credit card and put in all the numbers. There's machines now that they have that very small, almost the size of a credit card, where they can run yours and then they run it through their little machine too. It takes all that information. And they do that all night long. And at the end of the night, they have all the information from all the patrons that came in that they service. They download that information. They've got all their credit card information. So again, you're better off not to let them walk away with it. You're better off to take the bill, go up with them, or go up to a cash register and watch them before they run your card. Okay. Casual use of Social Security numbers or similar identifiers. Again, keep your Social Security number not in your wallet, not in your purse. Don't carry the card with you. Keep it in a secure place, whether it be at the bank, in a lockbox, or in a safe at your home. Don't carry it with you. Memorize the number and don't give it out to anybody. This is an example of phishing, and I know it's kind of small, it's hard to read. I've seen this on the internet, not this specific one, but I've seen other banks where it pops up and it says, "Dear SunTrust Bank client, recently there's been a large number of identity theft attempts, so here they're trying to suck you in saying, we know they're out there doing this," and they're doing it right here, okay? SunTrust customers, in order to safeguard your account, we require that you confirm with your banking details, credit card information, log-on password for online banking. Please process, or this process is mandatory, and if not completed within the nearest time, which is, again, I think you kind of hit on it, where things aren't phrased quite right. So if I read that again, this process is mandatory, and if not completed within the nearest time, your account or credit card may be subject to temporary suspension. They want you to go to a connected website, and they want you to provide the information. Banks don't do this. If it pops up on the screen, do not open it, close it out, do not go into that connected site. If you want to do online banking, and I do my banking online, it is safe, it is secure, but you need to make the connection to the bank.
Yeah,
you need to go. It. You initiate it, you go to the secure site. I'll get into it a little bit further. There's some things on there how you can identify whether the site is secure or not. But again, if it pops up, don't open it. Go to them. Don't let them come to you. Tips from the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. If you get an email or pop-up message that asks for personal or financial information, do not reply or click on the link in the message. Legitimate companies don't ask for this information via email. Excuse me for a minute.
Yeah, if you will just fill out a bank like SunTrust, if you belong to SunTrust Bank and you hop on the internet and something comes up, you might, if you're in a hurry, think, oh, I've got to do this right away, and you start giving out all this information to an unsecure site. If SunTrust comes up and you belong to SunTrust, you go out, you go back in, you contact SunTrust that way. If you belong to SunTrust and say B of A popped up, and you're thinking, well, I don't belong to B of A, why are they asking? You're just going to exit right out of there and not even think anything of it. But if it's something you're using every day, say you're on eBay and you're buying things, and you pay through PayPal, and all of a sudden a PayPal site pops up, we need this information, and you just, without thinking, just in that hurry, do it in a hurry and send it off to an unsecure location. You've just given out your information.
If you're concerned about your account, contact the organization via its legitimate telephone number or open a new internet browser. So open another site, one of their sites, and type in the company's correct web address. Okay? Don't send personal or financial information via email. That's how that gentleman on the DVD, he was picking up information. He was sending his realtor his tax statements with all his information on it, and that's how the guy got it. Okay. If you initiate a transaction and want to provide your personal or financial information through an organization's website, look for indicators that the site is secure. Okay? And this is what I was talking about earlier. The lock icon. You will see actually a picture of a little lock that shows that it's a secure site. It'll be on there. There's an icon or a picture. Okay, the browser status bar. The URL for the website that begins with HTTPS, the S stands for secure. It indicates that you are on a secure site. Okay. Unfortunately, no indicator is foolproof. Okay, some phishers have forged security icons. So again, just because it has the little lock, and just because it has the S on the end of the HTTP, you would think it's secure. Well, not necessarily. So if it's a pop-up, don't go to it. If you initiate it and it's an HTTPS and you've got the lock on there, chances are you're on a secure site. Okay. Use antivirus software and keep it up to date. Some phishing emails contain software that can harm your computer or track your activities on the internet without your knowledge. Antivirus software scans incoming communications for troublesome files. Look for antivirus software that recognizes current viruses as well as older ones that can be effectively reverse the damage and install updates automatically. Again, get good antivirus. If you go to any of the computer stores out there, talk to one of the technicians and they can tell you what's the best antivirus software that's on the market. And some of it's a little pricey, but what's the price of your security? So if you're going to be online, you're going to be doing your bill pay, you're going to be accessing different sites. If you've got kids that are going on the internet that are accessing different sites, they're going to my favorite place, what's my favorite website? MySpace. Okay. Again, if the kids are going on there, they're getting pop-ups, they're going into things, they're opening things up. You've got to be very careful. Okay. A firewall. Okay, you ought to have a firewall on your computer. It helps make you invisible on the internet and blocks all communications from unauthorized sources. It's especially important to run a firewall if you have a broadband connection. Finally, your operating system, your Windows, or your Linux may offer free software patches to close holes in the system that hackers or phishers could exploit. So make sure you've got a good firewall. Computers have made record-keeping faster. Automation also removes human analysis, making it easier for someone to steal your identity or pose as another person. More and more transactions are being handled electronically, a trend that is continuing to increase dramatically. Again, the use of computers is on the upswing, and there's no slowing down. It's not going to slow down anytime soon. Now you've got, handheld computers. You've got the iPhones that are out there where you can access the internet. You can do your banking. This young man over here is shaking his head because, you know what? The young folks know it better than we do. I go to my kids. I've got 4 sons. I go to them. When I've got a computer issue, that's who I talk to because they're much more knowledgeable. They know how to get and work around these things. More computer hackers now go for monetary returns, not for the thrill of conquering another computer. That used to be the big thing. The computer geeks were the ones that were doing it. It was the thrill of the kill. They were going in and they were getting into a secure site, and they were breaking through the firewall, and they were finding holes and this and that, just as, an intrigue. Now they've said, well, wait a minute, I can make money doing this. So now they're after the bucks. Mobility means that many of us shop in stores all over our communities, regions, or the country, so we're more anonymous than ever. Okay? Many of us find it hard to believe that identity theft could happen to us, even though millions of victims, or there are millions of victims each year. Consumer education, like the information we're sharing today, helps you reduce your risk of becoming a victim. Education is an ongoing process as new technologies and new criminal techniques emerge. Information about prevention and ways to stop identity theft spread quickly as well. So as fast as we figure out how they're doing it and we give you ways to try and combat that, they're finding new ways of getting your identity. New ways are being found to tighten security on electronic payment systems and to detect out-of-the-ordinary purchase patterns. A lot of your banks can establish for you, and you need to go to your banking institutions and talk to them. They will give you some sort of a sign. They will notify you over the internet. They will notify you via mail that there's been activity on your account, okay, and generally unusual activity. If you routinely go to the market and spend a few $100s and you pay for your car payment, you pay your utility bills, and you don't make a lot of big purchases, you go out to the store and all of a sudden you spend $1,500, $2,000 on a big screen TV, the bank's going to notify you that that purchase was made, so you're aware of it. So again, talk to your banking institution so they will keep you up to date. Okay. Some credit card payment systems now print only the last 4 digits of the credit card number so that someone who steals your receipt can't steal your good name. Again, that's something that you need to request of the places that you shop and do business. Ask them not to print out the full number. Okay. New shredders are coming out into the market. Actually, they've been in the market for quite a while now. They're crisscross shredders, easy for me to say. They don't just cut it into strips. They actually crisscross cut it as it goes through the shredder. It makes it much more difficult to put it back together. And I think I've told some of you before on some of our other meetings, these tweakers that are out there, they're on these methamphetamine, they're up all night long, and they take these little strips and they will tape them or glue them together to get the full picture back. So if it's cross-cut shredded, it's impossible, or virtually impossible to do that. Okay. Don't risk it, shred it. Okay. Who is vulnerable? People who keep their money in bank accounts. Isn't that an odd statement? I guess maybe we ought to go back to keeping our money in the mattress. But then again, you're going to be burglarized, possibly, and lose all your money in the mattress. So again, the people who are vulnerable because they keep their money in bank accounts because these criminals have access. Okay, you've got to try and protect it. People who use credit cards or debit cards. You're much better off using a credit card than a debit card because you can contact the credit card agency. The money really hasn't been taken from you at that point in time. You can dispute a charge. But if you're using your debit card and the money's taken out of your account, that was your money. It was in your account, and now it's gone. And then you've got to prove to the bank it was fraud, and then they've got to reimburse you. Whereas with the credit card, you're not out of pocket, so to speak. Okay. Generate trash with unshredded paper in it. So if you throw your stuff away without shredding it, you're vulnerable. People who casually toss credit cards or other receipts into public receptacles. Don't walk out of the store and throw your bag away or throw your receipt away. Bring it home and shred it. Okay. People who get personal bills by mail or electronically. Most of the time electronically, if you're doing it with your bank, it's a secure site. But as far as if you get your bills in the mail, which most of us do get bills in the mail, and it comes to your little mailbox with the red flag, somebody could steal that information from you. People who don't check their credit card reports and bank statements regularly. Pull up your bank statements. Look at your credit card accounts. Make sure that all the charges on there are your charges. Keep track. This is something you've got to do on a routine basis, if not once a month, every 2 weeks. I constantly pull up my bank statement just to see where I'm at, what's been spent. I do it at least once a week, if not more often. Okay? So again, keep track of your money, where it's being spent, what you're doing. Okay? People that don't check their credit bureau reports, nowadays there's no excuse. You can get 2 credit reports a year for free. Go on freecreditreport.com. You can get a credit report. It asks you to subscribe, in most cases, to one of these banking institutions that'll watch your credit for you, that'll notify you of any kind of transactions that are going on with your credit. And again, I think you have to sign up for a 30-day trial, and then you can choose to keep it or not keep it. But again, you can get credit reports twice a year. Pull them up, check them, find out if there's information going on. If you have unlocked or easily accessible mailboxes, again, you're vulnerable. What can you do to prevent identity theft? How are we doing on time? Okay, perfect. Okay, check your bank, credit card, and similar statements monthly, as I said, even more often if possible. Make sure you receive them and make sure the charges are yours. Immediately call your bank or credit card companies if you don't receive your bill. Now, a lot of folks say, well, gee, I didn't get my bill this month. Woo-hoo! I don't have to pay my bill. It doesn't work that way, folks. You're still obligated for the money. If you don't get your bill, call the company, find out. It's possible that somebody stole that credit card or that bill information. They can use your information. Consider registering with the Direct Marketing Association to stop unsolicited credit offers. If you're getting a lot of credit card offers in the mail in particular, contact the Direct Marketing, put your name on the list so they don't send you all this solicitation, okay? It's just giving you more risk, okay? Never provide account information over the internet or the phone unless you originated the call and unless you are absolutely certain of the party to whom you are speaking. Again, if somebody calls you, if you're not comfortable with who you're talking to, get the phone number, call them back. Check your bill. Make sure you're calling their service provider contact number. Okay?
And those are the 2 easiest ways for them to get the information.
Absolutely.
Credit cards come in the mail, you look at them, I don't need it, you tear it in half, you throw it in the trash, it goes out to the trash can, they get it out of the trash can or they get it somewhere like that. Or you get the phone call in asking you to take a survey on anything. They're going to give you $300 coupon for a grocery store. Do you have a few minutes? And then they ask you about what you're shopping, what you're buying, but then they turn it and they start asking you personal information. Again, we go back. Everybody's so busy nowadays, sometimes you just want to get off the phone, you're answering the questions quickly, and you wind up giving out this personal information over the phone to someone that you don't even know. Even if, just like on the scams that we were talking about. 3 of the things they do, they try to put you in a position of, you have to do it right now. They call you at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon, and it's a gas company or Edison or your insurance or cable or whoever it might happen to be, and they want to put you in a position that you have to give them information right now before 5 o'clock or some service will be shut off. If one of those companies call your insurance company for the car, get a number. If they don't give you a number and they hang up, you can tell pretty well they were trying to maybe pull something on you. Get a callback number, but then you initiate the call. You call your insurance company. You call Waste Management, the trash company, whoever it is. You call them back and give the information out that way or find out what's going on. That's the one thing they do, put you in a real quick bind to do that. The second thing would be that color of authority. On cell phones especially, if you have caller ID at your house, if I call anybody in the room, it's going to come up Craig Steffen. But I can pay through the internet to have it say whatever I want. I can have it say IRS. How many people love to get a call from the IRS? That scares the heck out of you, right? And you think, oh, they need information. I'm going to give it to them. Well, get it, same thing. Ask for a number, call them back, initiate it that way. Because you can do that. It was a fun thing when the phones came out and the internet. There's a lot of good stuff, but there's a lot of bad stuff that goes with it. Doing that was a joke, being able to put it on and me being able to call Jim that the IRS is calling him, right? That's a big joke. Or
appreciate that.
calling somebody else, I'm Brad Pitt or whatever it happened to be. But, criminals use this stuff. So same thing, call back. The last thing would be, refresh my memory here, long day, color of authority, scheme. It's too good to be true.
Very, very good.
Right.
I was pulling a blank.
It's too good to be true. Someone's calling up and saying you've just won something, or you have a chance to do this, a cruise.
Congratulations.
If it sounds too good, and they're not going to put it too far reaching out there, like you've just won $20 million. They'll put it something, that almost is obtainable. You've just won, $250,000. And you're thinking, well, I didn't enter anything. Well, no, you didn't enter. You didn't have to enter. You were chosen at random, and this is going on, and you're going to get it in the mail, and you're going to get the check, and they're not asking any information. Then right at the end, they'll start, asking for a little bit of information and saying, well, you can get it sooner through the mail. It might be a month, but we can put it in your banking account right now. In 3 days, if direct deposit, if you give us your checking account number and your routing number, and you wind up giving out information. The two best things you can do to prevent identity theft that you can do is don't give out information over the phone, don't give out information over the internet, keep an eye on your credit cards at all time, like Jim was saying. I mean, that's some of the best stuff, just to reiterate what he's going over here.
Okay, rip up receipts if you will not need them for warranties or returns. Again, shred any unwanted credit, loan, or credit card offers. At least cut them up with scissors before putting them in the trash. And again, you need to shred them, folks. Cutting them up with scissors isn't enough. Okay. Do not give out your real name or your personal information in the internet chat rooms. And again, the younger people, as we had said, were being targeted. They're putting out this information in these chat rooms. Much more information than they need to be putting out. And they're not only putting themselves at risk, but a lot of times they're putting their parents at risk.
Sometimes get on the internet and Google a friend or your name and see how much information you can get on yourself or other people. One day we were upstairs. We were going to have a meeting with a woman, and we had misplaced her phone number. So we were trying to contact her through the organization that she worked. So we were popping in names, popping in the organization, seeing if we could get anything. At that point, we didn't. But I popped in a coworker's name, and within about 2 clicks and playing around, a site popped up that had 3 or 4 contact names for the person, like 2 brothers and a mom or a father's name. And I went over to the next cubicle and I said, do you have a brother named so-and-so? And they looked at me, how do you know? And I said, well, within 2 clicks on the internet, I just found out. So play on the internet sometimes and see what you can find out about. If you don't use your name, use somebody else's or name and see how far you can get, what information you can get, because people can use that information. If you received a phone call, if I got information off the internet that you had a brother named Bob, and I call you, because phone numbers are easy to get like that, so I call Jim and then say, I'm so-and-so and Jim doesn't know me. Well, I spoke to your brother Bob, and he referred me to you. Oh, my brother Bob, well, where'd you meet? Well, very vague answer. Well, we were talking, Again, don't give out the information over the phone. It's just that day and age. Don't do it. The phone, internet, stay away.
Absolutely. Okay, don't authorize anybody else to use your credit cards. They may not take the same care that you do. Your credit card is your credit card. Don't give it to the kids. Don't give it to your friend. They may throw the receipt away. They may do something different than what you normally do. Again, nobody should be using your credit. Deposit mail in U.S. postal mailboxes, as I had said earlier, preferably ones that are inside the post office, and make sure that your mailbox is secure. Okay. In quick review, again, if you're a victim of identity theft, file a police report immediately, notify the 3 major credit bureaus, file a report with the Federal Trade Commission, okay? Check your credit reports, report any inaccurate, incorrect activity, and ensure that a fraud alert is put on your account. Carry copies of documentation with you. And I'm not extremely in favor of this. It says the police report, your affidavit, and any other formal records that attest to your identity in case of an emergency. You don't really want to carry that kind of information with you. And I think what they're getting at on this particular point is if you were a victim of identity theft, as I had indicated before, that maybe somebody used your identity and they were arrested, or your license was stolen and some of your information was stolen, and you're afraid that if I get pulled over, I won't be able to prove who I am, and if they run my name, it may come back with some kind of a felony arrest or warrant for my arrest, then yeah, you need to have some kind of proof that you are who you are and that this kind of stuff is going on with your identity. But ordinarily, you don't want to carry this kind of information with you. Check court records in your general area for bankruptcies and for mortgage liens using your name. Many records are automated, which makes the job easier. So again, we've got a lot of foreclosures going out there, folks. People are taking out credit in other people's names. People are buying homes and getting mortgages. The mortgages then being foreclosed upon. And you may not even know it, that you own a house out there that you owe $250,000 on that you've never lived in. So again, check the records. Encourage everyone to review their habits about handling personal information. Take prevention strategies to heart and encourage others to do so. Speak out about the need for preventative action and laws that protect identity theft victims. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll take questions here. I've got a couple of, let's see which ones. Those there are pretty good. You've got the Federal Trade Commission, Department of Justice, Better Business Bureau, United States Postal Service, and the National Criminal Justice Reference Service. Those are websites that you can go to. Most of that information is on the handouts that I gave you guys. But again, we're ready to go to questions.
Why don't you crank that one on? One thing we always do with our presentations, we tape all these. This has been shown live right now, but we're taping it. It'll be shown on Channel 28 throughout the month, probably next month here. We have other presentations on there as far as emergency preparedness, the scams and schemes and frauds, and a few others, Business Watch. When we don't want to give out information to the bad guys. We know we don't have bad guys here tonight, but we will try to answer questions, any comments, any latest identity theft things that we haven't covered here. If you wish to speak, more the merrier. Jim or me will give you the mic. When you have the mic, it's not a real sensitive mic. If you hold it down here, it's not going to work. You have to have it right in front of your face to work.
Right up to your chin like this.
Correct. So, and like I said, the main thing is don't give out personal information because this is being taped and it will be labeled on Channel 28. But if you have any questions, concerns, and we don't want to give a lot of clues to bad guys out there. If you do have something that's, might generate more crime out there, we'd be more than happy to talk or discuss after the meeting on that. So, but anybody have any questions or comments? Or we've got some here. Barbara.
Good evening. I came because I was told to get on my computer a router, and when I went to look at it, I really wasn't sure how the router would really prevent any more, people trying to get in my computer when I have all the virus checks and put the firewall up. So can you speak to that?
Okay, if I understand correctly, you've got a new router.
No, I was told to purchase a router to hook it up to my computer to be another barrier.
No, not necessary. You don't need to do that. If you've got a firewall and you've got the spyware and software added to it, you don't need an additional router.
Most routers you can put a password on anyway.
Right.
So if you put a password on your router, you won't have that problem. I'm a complete victim of identity theft, included the IRS filing taxes and getting the tax return. And you didn't cover that. The tax return thing, just so you know, I found out like 8 months later that the IRS does have an identity theft department.
Okay.
I wasn't given that number until like 8 months after somebody filed a tax return in my name.
Would you happen to have that number?
The phone number? No.
Okay.
Not on me.
That's something we're going to have to research and get to people.
If they steal everything, which they did for me, then you have your credit card and they make purchases out of state, you cannot file an out-of-state police report. Found that out the hard way. There's nothing that you can do with the credit cards. They don't give a crap, and apparently neither do the local sheriff's department. They'll take your police report. You got to have a copy of the police report so you can make your affidavit.
Right, that's the jurisdictional.
Filing out your information on the FTC, the website. So the other thing is the utilities that they opened up in my name. The utilities are definitely not in your friend. They're not your. You need to make sure that you have the 3 credit reports thing. So they're calling you, and even that doesn't help. When they did open up the gas, electric, and phone all in my name, I got the phone call and was able to shut it off right away, except for the phone company who didn't call until the bill went into collection. Then they wanted their own police report. So it's a police report for the gas company, it's a police report for the Edison company, it's a police report for the phone company.
Right, these are all separate instances.
All separate phone. Every time that you have to file with the sheriffs, and they have to come to your house and do all that other stuff, and it's just a real pain. I will say that, if you were to cut up your credit cards with scissors like he mentioned, then I would just throw it in separate trash cans if you don't have one of those shredders. A piece here, a piece there, and a piece there. And I think that they should lobby for legislation to have credit cards on limited use, so that you can say that I only use this credit card at the grocery store, the gas station, and blah, 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 or wherever it is that you say that you use it at. So somebody that uses my credit card out of state and buys a diamond, and another person uses my credit card, buys computers, and has them shipped to Los Angeles. So, anyway.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
And with the crime of identity theft, as we're going over it, we're trying to give you some idea on how to, prevent it somehow. But there's so many ways that they can get it. Say you go to a secure location and you apply for a loan at a very secure location. Whatever they're selling, you apply for the loan, you give them the information. They're an outstanding company. They have an A rating. All you need is one bad employee somewhere in there with access to that, to get that information, to pull that out, to sell it, to give it to somebody. So it's not a complete science that we're trying to say tonight that this is going to prevent identity theft. We're just going over some of the areas that you can try to slow it down, not to be an easy victim or whatever. But if you have dishonest people, just like that one woman that was working in there and you're filling out an application at a legitimate business, you have one rotten apple, just like it was years and years ago, when you filled out something and it went into a file cabinet. But think about that back then. Stuff was torn up, thrown away. You didn't have this super highway here. You didn't have access to 1, 5, 10, 50 files all at once and to get it and to move it and send it. So it's just something that's out there right now that we're all dealing with. I know people of every profession up here in this valley that have been victims of identity theft. And I don't know show of hands, how many here tonight have been a victim? Is that...
Look at the percentage there, folks. That's amazing.
Right, and it's just there's some precautions you can take, and that's why we're trying to get the latest things here of everybody and trying to get some more comments. So you had a quote.
Hi, I think I am a victim of identity theft. I had a credit report done on Tuesday.
Okay.
Through Experian. And there's like $17,000 worth of debt. Plus, they have my real name and my real Social Security number and another name with a different Social Security number, but they X out the first 5 numbers. So when I tried to call one of the debts that I owe through someplace out in Florida or Minnesota or someplace else, they go, well, what's the first 5 numbers of that Social Security number? I don't know, because I never had a different Social Security number. I never used another name besides my maiden name and my married name. So she told me I had to get that information first before she can do anything.
Okay, the best thing I can recommend, you ran it through Experian.
Yeah.
Right? Run it also through the other 2, TransUnion and Equifax. I can never think of all 3 of them. run it through all 3 credit reports, see whether or not it's showing up on all 3, okay? Contact the sheriff's department, file a report.
I did that, and he took,
okay.
he didn't do a real report because we don't know for sure which one of these or any of these debts are mine.
Okay, you
Sure, a
could,
couple of them are, but
if he, whether it's a deputy or whether it's a community service officer that comes out to take the report, whether or not they take a complete identity theft report, if they say, well, you don't have enough information, then you have them do a suspicious circumstance report. That way you still have a report on file with all the information that you do have, because you're going to need that down the road to try and prove that it took place.
okay, and also, I got a little pamphlet from the deputy, and I believe it said something about going to the DMV and reporting it, and Social Security and reporting it.
You can go to both the DMV and Social Security, and you can have them run your name to see whether or not anything else comes up under your name or under your Social Security number.
Okay.
But you can put a fraud alert on your credit report with the reporting agencies.
Like Experian and Equifax and whatever else?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, in the handout that Jim gave you and everything, these numbers are in there. We just printed it out on a separate page back there also, so you can grab those too. But the top 3 are the reporting, credit reporting agencies that you want to call, and then the bottom one is just an enlarged from the back page of the identity theft brochure of the number you want to call also if you have been a victim of identity theft.
Well, hello. I'm very glad to have come today because it gives me some hope. But my question is there any hope of getting back? My wages have been garnished for over a year, and I've paid $7,000 thus far over a student loan. Back in 1999, somebody took out a loan, and I see that in the brochure there's on page 24 about student loans, but the garnishments are going to continue, and I was wondering if you have seen cases like that.
Okay, so this is a student loan that someone took out in your name,
Right.
and they're garnishing your wages to pay for back student loan that was, a lot of these student loans that are taken out aren't due and payable until the person graduates from college or completes whatever courses they're taking.
Yeah, and I just found out what it was. I thought it was a fashion school that I had looked at, but it wasn't. Somebody actually forged my signature, and I'm still supposed to pay. Then on top of the loan, which was $6,000, I have to pay another fee, so it amounts to $8,000.
Yeah, I cannot give you legal recommendations, but I would say contact an attorney and see what can be done. I don't know whether you'll be able to recoup that money or not. I don't know if it's a state or federal agency that is taking the money from you at this point.
They got a separate collection agency.
Okay. Yeah, I would talk to an attorney about it.
The unfortunate part about this is once you're in it, like Jim's saying, you probably have to contact an attorney when it gets this big, this bad. It's a double whammy. Not only are you getting your credit destroyed and bills coming in, but then you have to have the added expense of hiring an attorney. As a city of Lancaster, we can't recommend any particular company, but check with your individual banks, see what security measures they can put on your account. As you were suggesting, limit, whatever, if you want to put a limit on your card for the day, $100, $200 or whatever, or have it where every time you use that card, you have to give, some more information. Whatever the bank can offer you on your computer, on your account, on your credit card, see what they have to offer for free, see what they have to offer for a cost, see if they recommend, your bank recommends any other aftermarket security companies or programs that are out there now to protect your identity. As a city, we can't say, take this, do that, do this, but investigate. Go to your bank. That's what I would talk. Your bank. If you have a financial advisor, talk to your financial advisor. Get access that way to maybe a better way to secure this before it does happen. Because by going over the credit reports and checking those, sometimes if you do check it and it's already there, it's already happened. So if there's any precautions that you can do through your bank, through your financial advisor, through a private company that's referred to you by your bank or financial advisor, that could always help also.
Yeah, be very careful with these credit repair companies that are out there, okay? A lot of them are not legitimate. They cannot repair your credit. If they tell you that, oh, we'll have everything taken off of your credit report within 30 days, it's not going to happen, folks. What they're going to do is they're going to transfer information and basically provide you with a different identity. And that's how they clear information from your name.
Like say, get a reference from your bank, credit institution, credit union.
There are legitimate places out there that can assist you.
I'll be real close.
Doesn't the FTC offer free credit reports from each agency through their website? Do you click on it?
I believe so.
It's annualcreditreport.com.
Yeah, but again, I think when you do go through it, they say free credit report, and you log on and you go to get it. Down at the bottom, you finally have to agree to something, and it is one of these tracking companies that'll do it.
Actually, a question and a comment. Question, why is it so difficult if they get their hands on the people to prosecute? I understand you can't get blood from a turnip, but if these people have, it said a lot of reward with little risk, why?
Well, because the local agencies don't have the authority to arrest people that are committing crimes in other states or other areas. I think that's part of it. What we saw here was the mail fraud folks that are federally jurisdiction. If they're committing crime in another state, our local sheriffs don't have jurisdiction to make arrests based on that necessarily. Where if you've got a federal agency and they're not going to put forth, that's one thing about our little DVD here. It's a little on the offside because that was a small operation. And the federal agents are not going to invest a lot of time and energy tape recording and investigating in order to catch this one guy and his partner that are taking out a few credit cards. The federal agencies are going after the big fish and the ones that are taking millions of dollars from hundreds or thousands of people. So this little guy that committed the fraud, we don't have the wherewithal to pursue him in the first place. So it makes it really easy.
And how do I get the post office to stop sending other people's mail to my house? Been in my home almost 10 years.
I would go to your local post office. I would talk to the postal inspector. I would let him know that I'm getting mail that does not belong to me. And they may tell you, well, you know what, that's not our problem. You've got to go out to Mojave, or I think Mojave's our hub here. A lot of mail comes into Mojave and then from there. You may even have to go out and talk to the postal inspector out there to get a correction. But talk to your postman, your postwoman. Have you, the person who's actually delivering the mail?
They even put a note on my mailbox that says last names, and it gives last names only.
And you're still getting it.
She lived in the house beforehand, and it's been coming. When we both got credit cards, for the little clubbing guy, that little commercial, both got them the same day. I didn't want it. I called. I said, hey, by the way, somebody else's credit card came. I did it over the phone. It still didn't stop them.
Yeah, that's yeah. And you're talking, like low risk sometimes. Some of the people that do this, especially dumpster diving, getting stuff out of the dumpster, and they put it back together, and they call the bank or they send it in or however they do it, and they change the address. Well, I got this, but I'm moving over here. And sometimes they're like fly-by-night people, So say I'm one of these people that just moves around all over, really doesn't have a residency, and I go over to Jim, my buddy's apartment, or my girlfriend's house over there, and I put down her address, and pretty soon a week goes by, and here comes this credit card. Now I've got this credit card, and I just go around town to people that accept the credit card without any ID, and I charge all this stuff up till it's maxed out, and they won't allow me any more, and I leave this girlfriend, or I don't hang around Jim anymore, and now I go somewhere other city, and then 6 months later, somebody looks on their credit report, and here's $1,000 charged up, and they're calling the original person, and they start backtracking, and they get a different address, which is Jim's house now, and they come by Jim's house, maybe local law enforcement, and hey, where, this credit card, well, no, I've never seen it. My buddy Phil stopped by here 3 or 4 months ago, and he was getting mail, or I don't know, and what's Phil's last name? I don't know Phil's last name. You can see how hard it is to track and keep following. Yes, they're at his house. The credit card went to his house, but unless they can prove that he legitimately, that he knew about the false use, or he did it somehow, if they've got ID from surveillance of another person, and it's not Jim, I mean, it's very hard to track sometimes, very hard to prosecute sometimes at that low level like that. So it's just, you can only be so precautious, but as Jim's saying, with when you can deal in cash, per se, or you hand your credit card to someone and you see them and they take it, and they give it right back to you, and they're not, putting it in another machine. And I mean, there's a lot of restaurants around town that you're going to go to, that you're going to put your card down, the waitress is going to go, it's legitimate, it's all good, but all you need is one rotten apple, and it's not that don't trust that waitress. I mean, it's just a precaution. If you want to walk it up there and do it at the register, just tell them you'd like to prefer to do it that way. And when you're up there, secure your PIN number. Very important. I mean, for a while, some of the markets, some of the restaurants were putting up like blinders on the side, and that helped out. And they would put a line on the floor saying, stay back here, give somebody some privacy. When you're in the market sometimes, the next person's right behind you like this.
Yeah, what do they call it? Shoulder
surfing.
Shoulder surfing.
So they'll be right over, looking at the number, and I mean, you do whatever. Cover it up, pretend you're hitting 8 numbers, and every third number hit your right number or whatever. But if you've got somebody just looking over your shoulder, and Jim types in 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got that piece of information. Now, if I can somehow get access to that credit card, or look at those numbers, or somehow do that, or memorize that, or get a receipt as he throws it out, or somehow get information, on him, I've got that number. So it's just being a little bit more precautious. One of the neighborhood watch meetings we went to, we talked to a gentleman. He was an older gentleman who went to Sizzlers, and he was standing in line. He was former LAPD, and the woman right in front punched the number in and then went and sat down. So it was a pretty easy number to remember, and he walked over to her, and he said, your PIN number is 4783 or whatever. And she, and it's like, he goes, I was looking over your shoulder. You weren't blocking my view. He goes, I'm old, I'm going to forget it by the time I go sit down, so don't worry about it. And but it's just that easy to get those PIN numbers. So be very cautious. Don't, on your computer at home too, or at work, don't leave Post-its with security numbers or passwords. And if you do use one password for everything, you've got to be real careful, especially at work, anywhere. If someone gets that, if you don't remember all your passwords and you keep a card in your wallet and it's all on there, or it's by your computer at home or computer at work, just be more precautious on everything if you can. Any other questions or comments? Or sir? Yes.
I just forgot to mention one thing, and just so you know, the utility companies and your cell phone companies allow you to put a PIN number or password on your account.
Okay, good to know.
See, and that's why we enjoy having these meetings too, because we get a lot of input. I'd like to hand it to her, please, and write it there.
Yeah, they had on Channel 3 News tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the scam that the lady had rented so many houses in Lancaster after people had moved out? They had been foreclosed upon?
I read an article in the paper roughly about a week and a half, but me and Jim had been here since 7 this morning, so I didn't see the news.
Yeah, it was on the news. But not only did she take their first and last and a deposit, she then stole their identity, too, because she got all the information from having to run a credit check.
Judy, that was here in the AV? It was here in Lancaster. Well, again,
There were 3 of them.
Right.
They watched the houses. As soon as the people moved out, they broke in, changed the locks, and she had multiple victims.
Okay.
And
Just
not only that money that they lost, but she stole their identity too.
okay. This is important. I just want to make sure that everybody, even the folks on TV, are hearing this. What she's telling me is a home goes into foreclosure. This person is watching the homes, checking the list of foreclosed homes, waiting for that person to move out of the home. They are then breaking into the home and taking ownership of that property, not legally, but taking control of that and renting that property out to an unsuspecting person. And they're doing this at different homes. This is going on in the Valley. It's not just here in Antelope Valley, but it's happening all across the nation. Again, if you're in a neighborhood, and we do Neighborhood Watch, and Neighborhood Watch is great, and that's what we need to hear about. If you've got a vacant home in your area, and you see people all of a sudden showing up and entering that complex or that home, you need to contact the Sheriff's Department and let us know. We'll come out and investigate. We're finding a lot of people that are either doing exactly what this lady has done, renting it out, or people that are just going and squatting on this property. So.
And with that, with Neighborhood Watch, we always promote that everybody in this day and age is just so busy and running around so quickly that sometimes we just don't think when we're doing stuff. It's just the day and age we're in that, you're commuting, you're working, you got Monday Night Football, you got Dancing with Stars, you got the kids in soccer practice, you got this going on, everything's so picked up pace. We're all of normal intelligence here. Think if you're renting that house, some of the questions that could have been asked. If you're renting the house, can you show me ownership that you own this house? As a renter, you're giving them the world by name, address, phone number, social security, where you work, bank, account numbers, all this, and you're handing it to somebody that's standing in a vacant house. It's like, at that time, slow down a little bit and ask some questions. Can you show me that you have ownership of this house? Can you give me your ID? I want to see your ID. Get names, get numbers, get ID numbers from them. If you need to take license plates, do something on your part to make sure that it isn't some scam or scheme. With a renter, if it was just renting, that would be bad enough. If somebody paid a month's rent and got to live there for a month, they're kind of getting their money. But like you say, with identity theft, but same thing. If you don't know who you're giving it out to, then maybe that's not the way to go. Maybe you should go to a reputable realtor up here in the Valley and go through them looking. Same thing. We get stuff in the mail from, Pick and Save magazines or whatever, or there's free flyers and there's something for sale or there's something in there. And if you go to this place and you're giving people checks that you don't know, think about this stuff sometimes. Somebody's at your front door, knocking at your front door, and you want them to get them away, and you've opened the door, and you wind up pulling out your checkbook for a subscription to Road and Track magazine for a year, and you write a check for $10 to this person standing in front of you that you don't even know. You're going to give him information as far as your driver's license or whatever he asks for. You give him the check. You figure, okay, I got him out of my hair and go back to make dinner. And the next thing you know, you check your account or you're checking your banking account and it's cash for $400. Don't do that. It's just that day and age. If you don't know who you're dealing with, don't give out information. Don't give them checks even, you got to be careful even at swap meets. Who are you dealing with? Who are you actually dealing with? So.
The county recorder, whether you're renting,
one second,
will give you all the information that you need with the property address.
Okay.
It'll tell you if it's in foreclosure. Oh, the county recorder's office?
Right. Lindy was saying county recorder, it's public knowledge. You can get all the information of who owns a home. You can go to county recorder, and for Lancaster, it's right over here off of, I think it's K6 in Division, K8, K6, somewhere right in that area is the county recorder, and you can get information. K4. Thank you. Any other questions?
If anybody has anything they want to discuss with us, off air, just come see us after we're over up here. I'll be more than happy to do that. Like I said, this is being recorded. It will be on again on Channel 28 during the month, so please check it out during the month. We have an emergency presentation program planned on that, scams, schemes, and frauds, and there's a couple others. We're trying to get everything up on our city website where there'll be an actual calendar there showing all the dates and times for everything. If you need any information from the Public Safety Office, our number is 723-6063. We have the Neighborhood Watch pamphlets back there. Please take those if you're not a member of Neighborhood Watch and you're interested in joining. Our number's on the back there. Just give us a call tomorrow. We'll send you out a pamphlet and explain Neighborhood Watch. We encourage everybody up here to join Neighborhood Watch.
Absolutely.
We've gone from 10 roughly about 2 years ago. We're now up to about 163, which is great. And Business Watch, which is like Neighborhood Watch, but it's for businesses. If you own a business, we're up to 113 now. That's just people participating. Crime is going down in the Antelope Valley and everything. The new crime stats will be reviewed soon, and you'll see that. For a number of years, it was going up every quarter. The beginning of last year, it actually started going down, and it's been going down, and it's going down at a good pace. So check the newspapers next week, and everybody will be a little bit happy about that, and that's a good thing. And there's three things that are doing that. The three good things are the Sheriff's Department is up to staff on all their personnel. The city's working real well with the Sheriff's Department as far as giving the Sheriff's Department what they need as far as funds and more deputies over there for specialized units and specialized teams. The third component to all this is Neighborhood Watch and citizens. I mean, you're all out here tonight to find out about identity theft, but you want to be informed about it. But we've got the citizens of Lancaster calling into the deputies, telling the deputies what's going on in their neighborhood. If I'm a deputy and I drive down your street, I don't know what cars belong on your street. Unless somebody's getting out with a ski mask and a pry bar in their hand, if I drive by a car and you're sitting in a car, I don't know if you belong there, and I'm just driving down the road. Unless there's something really, really obvious going on, they're patrolling the areas. But they could drive right by something. But you know who belongs in your area, what belongs, as far as vehicles belong in your area. If you walk out of your house and you see a vehicle out there and you don't recognize it, and you don't get a bad feeling about it. You see somebody there eating lunch, or they're doing paperwork, or they're waving at a neighbor, they're getting ready to go in, well, that's all normal. But if you get that gut feeling that, I've never seen this car before, I haven't seen these guys in this area before, what are they doing? They're just kind of hanging around. This doesn't seem right. At that time, if you've got that gut feeling, be a good witness. Don't just call the sheriff's station and say, oh, there's a white pickup truck with two guys in it. Not a lot to go on. Deputies, as they're rolling in, will be looking for a white pickup truck, and they'll probably see 50 of them on the way over there. So give a good description. Hey, it's a white pickup truck. It appears to be a 4x4. It's got chrome rims, a whip antenna. It's missing a tailgate. It's got a big yellow decal of a hand in the back window. With that description right now, if any of you were driving home tonight and you saw that vehicle, just from what I said, you could pick it out from half a block away. So can the deputies. It gives the deputies the right, when they come into your area and they see that vehicle, to question the people in that vehicle. It could be somebody's brother waiting for them. No harm, no foul. Can I see your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance? Yes, it is. Here it is, officer. What are you doing? Waiting for my brother. Okay, great, thanks. Bye. No harm, no foul. But if they go up to that vehicle and it doesn't have current tags, and they say you have a driver's license, registration, proof of insurance, and well, no, it's not my car. Do you have a driver's license? No, I don't. You're on probation or parole? I'm on parole. Okay, you step out of the vehicle, sir. Step out. Got some drugs on him or something. Got a weapon in the car. Car's being towed. He's out of the area. You've stopped a crime. And that's what we want to do. We want to stop the crime before it happens. Deputies or CSOs don't want to go out and just take the reports. They want to stop the crime before it happens. But that takes everybody calling in on this. Suspicious people coming down the street, knocking on the door. Don't look right, looking in your mailbox, peeking in your front window, asking for Bob. Bob's not here. They go across the street. They hop over the fence. Now they're burglarizing the house. If it doesn't seem right to you, stop. Be a good witness. Call it into the sheriff's station, please. Any other questions on anything? Thank you very much.
Instead of driving along
Well,
the street, and I think that's good.
Right, and the cell phone calls, you're right. The new laws that went into effect in July for speaking on the phone while you're driving, people need to stop to make a phone call, and now as of the first of the year, you're not allowed to do text messaging while you're driving. So yeah, people are going to need to stop to call or text.
You use a GPS on your phone while you're driving, and that's stupid. You use your GPS while you're
Even with the new texting law? Okay.
Yes, so you're texting.
Well,
Okay.
if you read DMV, Basically, when you drive a motor vehicle, your attention and your hands and your eyes are supposed to be paying attention to the road. Anything that distracts you from driving that vehicle, whether it's taking a 32-ounce big Coke in the summer and putting it right in front of your face, putting on makeup, shaving, playing the flute, whatever it happens to be.
Why does it make a law that you can't intentionally drive, but you can input information into a GPS? That's just stupid.
Right? You're a legislator, sir. I agree. I agree. So, I agree. Thank you very much for everybody for coming. Thank you.
Appreciate it.